Michael Goodwin, thank you for coming into, actually we should say Fortunity, for Business Insider. CEO, founder or co-founder of Loyalty IT?
Loyal IT.
Loyal
IT Solutions.
Yes, so indeed. Which is family values driven, but has established footprint across a major parts or major segments. So do you want to talk about what Loyal IT does?
Yeah, so Loyal IT, I started the business in November. We're actually going to turn 10. I started it from my lounge room at home with my wife, Julie. So she worked in the business 1 or 2 days back then. Started off with only a small handful of clients, and steady organic growth over 10 years. And now we're a team of 15 staff. We've got business premises at North Gosford, and as I said, about to turn 10 years old. So. Yeah.
And some really strong values, and I hear Julie's voice on the telephone system talking about your values.
Yep.
And I've got to say, from an outsider's point, you actually deliver on those. I hear those values a lot, but rarely see them delivered.
Yeah, look, we the business was started not because I wanted to go into business for myself, but I was working for it was a Central Coast IT consultancy which merged with a Sydney company. And it was a clash of culture. The Sydney company, the Central Coast part of that business pulled its roots out of the Central Coast, moved to Sydney. It all became bottom line driven, and it was about how much time you could bill and what you could get away with, not customer service. As soon as I put up with that for about a year before I just found it untenable and left, and was in a situation where I could go out and look for work, or after I left, I received phone calls from my clients that I looked after saying, "What are you doing?" And I thought, well, maybe I should start up and have a go. Back then I had a very young family, couple of boys. I got 3 boys, 2 were just starting school and 1 was still at home. So it was a fairly risky time to be going out on my own. But we had a crack, and 10 years later, here we are.
Yeah, so. Indeed, celebrating it. And if you could look back with what you know now, what do you wish you'd known then, 10 years ago? Yeah,
do you know, I don't have any regrets. And you mentioned that it's a values-based business. We've maintained that all the way through. So when we're interviewing people, we spend a lot of time talking about who we are and what our values are, and we make sure that people understand those values and are aligned with them. Because we have had people come into the business, they'll say at interview that they understand them and they align themselves with them, but after the honeymoon period's over, their true colours show. So we try and get that across very early with our employees, and we don't just it's not just something we discuss at interview and then it's forgotten about. We have we work to the FISH philosophy, which was a customer service.
It's a great
philosophy. And that was developed by Professor Stephen London, who I'm actually in contact with him. I met him last year at the Central Coast Innovation Festival, run by Trade and Investment, and that was a real highlight to meet him. But he liked what we were doing at Loyal IT with FISH. We've remained in contact and we've done some interviews for him, and we implemented that very early on.
And if you don't know about FISH, you should know about FISH. If you're in business and don't know about FISH, we were talking earlier about passion in business.
Yeah.
And it is impossible to work within FISH and try. And I love that phrase you use. We found people who build what they thought they could get away with. FISH, you cannot do that.
Yeah, that's right. And so we talk about that at interview, but we also meet as a team every Friday morning at 8:30. The meeting goes for about an hour and a half, but the way we wrap our meeting is that everyone has to give an example of how they've used FISH during the week. So there's the 4 principles of FISH, which is play, be there, make their day, and choose your attitude. Yeah. So everyone's got to give an example of when they've been dealing with a customer or a fellow team member, and how they've thought about fish and used it during the week.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it is, and it does keep people focused on it, and showing people the fish video when they first start, it gets them excited, but it also ensures they're very clear on what we expect. They're not there to just walk away at the end of the week with a pay packet. They're there to be part of our culture.
Be there.
Yeah.
They are there to be there. If you're not going to be there,
see you later.
Find somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I don't want to encourage Marcus's reputation, but you've been working with him. And has that been important?
It has. We implemented fish before Marcus came along, but Julie got involved with a business referral group fairly early on in starting Loyal IT. It might have been 3 years into running the business, and that's where she met Marcus. And Marcus chipped away at, you need a coach. You can do so much better with a coach. I
can't stand that sort of persistence.
It would have been a year of him sort of chipping away, and he's very generous with his time before we actually signed him up. But eventually, Julie convinced me to go with it. I wasn't sold on it straight away, but Julie just chipped away. Marcus chipped away at Julie. Julie chipped away at me, and eventually we signed up with Marcus. He's been our coach for I think about 5 years now, and he adds immense value to our business. And he's just a great support.
Okay, ease up.
As a business owner, it's really let me just think of the right word here. It's invaluable to have someone to sound as a sounding board.
You've created or chosen some niches that you operate in. Do you want to talk a bit about those?
We sort of landed in those. We didn't seek them, but we sort of landed in them and built from there. Central Coast is a very small business community. It's almost like a village. So what happened, we got in fairly early with 1 or 2 doctors or specialists who we looked after well. And it's amazing that 1 or 2 doctors talking to their professional friends or colleagues about us, and now we've got maybe 20 specialists and doctors on our books. Once again, the club industry is an area that we specialise in, because we had one club client who talked to their colleagues and fellow clubs about us, and once again word spread. So we do specialise in those 2 markets.
It's amazing what doing a good job can do.
Yeah, it is, and it just comes back to the customer service level that we set for ourselves based on fish, finding the right people to deliver that, and as I said, it's just been organic growth from 1 to 15 staff in 10 years. Starting the business really was a lifestyle decision for me. I didn't do it because I wanted to work 60 hours or 80 hours a week and be a millionaire. I did it because I wanted to help out in the boys' classrooms when they were in primary school. I wanted to work on the canteen. I wanted to be an involved dad, and owning my own business allowed me to do that. They would have had to
remodel the canteen to let you in, wouldn't they? Benny, they would have had. Anyway, see that we've been fortunate today. We're talking to people about planning, and they're not about planning, but that they have planned what they do, and that seems like an important part of your. You see where you're going to be, and
what Marcus does is he sits you down and comes up. He wants you to come up with what your personal goals are, and then based on what your personal goals are, long-term personal goals, he builds that into your business plan. So,
and I've got to say that's very common amongst every good business advisor on the coast.
Yes.
And the Big Paddle specialises in that very area of personal expectations. So it's not just markets, okay?
Yeah.
Good. Let's talk about goals. You've got a driven and a driving wife, who I'm a fan of. So how do you talk Do you have family conferences? Do you work out what you're going to do for the next 12
Yeah,
months?
we do. We do. With the boys, we sit down and we have, similar to our work conference, where we'll sit down and do workshops, some goal setting, vision boards. We've all got our own vision boards. And that whole vision board thing, once again, I was very sceptical when Julie started doing that. And she did start doing it maybe 10 years ago. I'll tell you a really interesting story with the vision board stuff. Is Julie had her vision board above her desk at work, and what she did, she wrote, she had a cheque on there that she wrote, Julie Goodwin, $100,000, and stuck it on her vision board. Now, I looked at that, and being the sceptic I was, I said to her, why did you put a cheque up there for $100,000? And she said, well, I'm just attracting that. I'm putting it out to the universe and I'm attracting that's going to come to me. And I said, well, why wouldn't you put $1 million or why wouldn't you put $10 million? And she said, well, I wouldn't think that could happen. I wouldn't believe that could happen. But $100,000, I reckon I can make that happen. You know, and then that was on a vision board for probably 18 months before the MasterChef opportunity came along. And when they announced to the contestants fairly early on that the prize was, you know, the cookbook, the work experience, and $100,000, her blood chilled and she got the tingles up the spine.
Yeah.
And from that moment, I think when they announced that was when she probably changed the thinking to maybe this is the universe answering my request.
You attract it.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm no longer a skeptic, to the point where, as I said, with the boys, we get together once a year. We go away and we set our goals and build our vision boards.
That's cool.
And I'm happy to say they've all got them up and they're all crossing things off as time goes by. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Considering you have a vision board, you probably have, that covers one of our questions, which is, do you have a rant? Would you change anything about business and the business environment now, or would you change anything about the business environment now?
Loyal IT's business environment,
or where you are operating, is there something that just gets up your nose when you look at what's happening on the Central Coast or what's happening within the business environment in total?
Yeah, I'm a big supporter of revitalising Gosford. Since I've been on the Central Coast, which we're coming up to 20 years on the coast, it's constantly being talked about, but nothing's ever happened. Our current council have been very proactive and very supportive of making it happen. The previous council and maybe the one before that weren't. But I dislike that a lot of publicity recently has been on the people that are against revitalising Gosford. But yeah, I support, and that gets up my nose because something's got to happen there. You go down to the waterfront there at Gosford, and it's just a magnificent city that hasn't really leveraged what a beautiful area it is. It's all sort of built away from that waterfront. So we really need some development down there. We need investors, and we need forward-thinking local. We need forward-thinking government representatives at every level to make it happen.
Yeah.
It's Gosford. It's a beautiful place. It's you look at Erina, which is sort of one of the major business hubs of the Gosford city area. I mean, look at that beautiful water. Why have we not embraced that and built around it? It's just, it is crazy.
It is crazy. It is for lack of concern and commitment from the business people, I think. We step back and say, no, that will happen, or oh no, I've got other stuff to worry about. When in actual fact that is the core of what we should, because that will give our children and their children an opportunity to grow up in a thriving town. I hesitate to call it a city, but it could be a cool place.
Yeah,
a much
definitely.
cooler place than it already is.
And I mean, I'm quite involved in the local business community. I part of Gosford Chamber, and some of my staff members are involved in different business groups. I'm also a member of Gosford City Rotary. So I'm rubbing shoulders with a lot of other business owners, and they all support it. So there's a very small but very vocal minority that don't, and it scares investors away. If Lend-Lease pull out of what's about to happen, we're back to where we were back when Spurbest pulled out. We need some investment in the place. We need someone to believe it can happen, and that does mean that there's going to be some high density residential built down on the water. I mean, it's got to be viable. It can't just be single story commercial. You need people down there. You need people in the city.
Jobs. We need commitment from. You were generous to suggest all levels of government. I'm going to focus on the state government. They need to be on board with this. They need to identify which department they're going to bring up here. We need commitment. My issue is we've got 10,000 active small businesses here on the coast.
Yeah.
Those groups you're part of, you will bump into the same people.
Yes.
We have probably 200, 300, 500 small businesses represented across all the chambers on the coast. The other 9,500, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
We've got to do more of it. I'm sorry, I've got to ask you a question now. I'm ranting here myself. So, can you share the 5-year vision for Loyal IT?
5-year vision for us, we set a goal 5 years ago to dominate the Central Coast market. We wanted to be the first company people thought of when they needed to go and get IT services. I feel that we've almost reached that. We do have a number of competitors that I'm aware of in the marketplace. 5 years from now, I'm trying to get the business to work without me in it. So I've hired a general manager, and I'm looking at sort of stepping back from Loyal IT to look at some other business interests, sort of more focused on Julie and what skills and opportunities she has, and to really support her in her career.
Fantastic. Tell us what Loyal IT does.
Yep. So Loyal IT, we're the IT department for small to medium business. So most of our clients don't have their own IT. They don't hire their own IT people. So we come in and we're their on-site IT people.
Hardware and software?
Yep. So a reseller, we sell all the major name-branded HP, IBM, Lenovo, Toshiba products. But we also set it up, maintain it, and support it ongoing.
I should say we thank you for your support of Business Insider at the NBN bus as well, as a keynote speaker there. So that's cool. Is there a tip if someone came up and said, Michael, what would you tell me to do if I was thinking about starting a business right now? Do you have one thing you'd leave them with?
Yeah, I think you need to be very clear. You have to have a business plan. You can't just say, let's have a crack and just get out there and just start doing what you think you need to do to make money. I think you need to sit down, write a full business plan, put in some goals and milestones, and then go about executing that. You've really got to. We went through periods of fairly rapid growth at various times, and then we've sort of shrunk at times as well. But you just have to ensure that you're on a path and that you know where your destination is.
Is it about numbers? Do you get?
Yeah, it's very important to know your numbers. It's in saying knowing your numbers, I'm not saying be profit driven. You need to know the numbers in your business to make effective decisions.
Okay. This is really important. I need to ask this question. Do you cook?
I can. I don't enjoy it. It's a chore for me.
Do the children enjoy? Well, your sons, they're not children anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, the boys, we have this rule at home that if you're involved in the preparation of dinner, you don't have to do the washing up. So So on any given night, it's not uncommon for one of the boys to be part of the preparation of the meal.
Okay,
So.
that's cool. Not surprised, but generally not you.
No,
So,
no.
yeah.
But I do, if we have a barbecue or something, I'm out there, and we built this amazing pizza oven in the backyard. And so I make the dough and I cook the pizzas. So I'm sort of, I guess, where it comes to sort of fire and
It's
and
a niche.
meat.
You're
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah.
The Italian niche.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's So I can look at. I can stand on my own 2 feet in the kitchen, but it's only when I have to do it.
We might stop there.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. No worries. No worries.